So basically, as I said, you can launch a campaign in a few minutes. So what Craig's already gone through, and again, it's important to make sure that you don't skip any steps, because one is, as Craig saw, that it won't allow to launch the campaign, but you can often overlook a couple of points. So the first thing is, obviously, when you're naming your campaign, make sure it's something that's detailed and you can understand what it's about. Again, when you're running a campaign, it's best practice would be you'd be testing various landing page URLs. So if you're running a web shop, you might test buying them to the homepage, which is not usually advised, versus buying them directly to a category page, or buying through to your services page. So when you're trying to decide what should be a landing page URL, I would typically advise to make sure it's a deeper part of your site that's much more relevant to your users, so visitors, and much more likely they can actually perform an action, such as contacting or purchasing. Again, the UTM source, you want to make sure it's something very simple. I use just traffic jet. Objective, again, you get two types of objectives. Awareness is basically buying traffic for your site, get as many clicks as possible, versus conversion, which is basically, it relies on the Google Analytics integration. So not all websites can have a conversion-based campaign, but if I was going to recommend campaigns, I would say try to make sure you're running a conversion-based campaign, because the advantage of that is, one is you get a better return on investment, but also this information is fed back into the Semrush machine learning platform, and it can optimize for clicks that are much more likely to generate a conversion, which makes you money. So it's a very important thing when you're running these types of marketing campaigns. You want the best return on investment as possible. So yeah, if you can, make sure you set up a conversion-based campaign, but you will need to integrate with analytics, and you will need to make sure goals are set up within your Google Analytics account. Again, targeting options, again, what Craig's already touched upon. This is basically, you know your visitors. So if a majority of visitors are basically mobile users, you might have better return on investment just running a mobile ad. If your website's not great for mobile experience, considering just running desktop advertising. But where possible, try to do city level targeting. And again, there's a nice little pun here, a target store in the US, but you're going to get much better results if you're doing targeting based on the particular area where you service or where you make most of your money, rather than trying to capture everything. So again, the campaign sample that Craig set up, if you're targeting Munich and you run local tours, that's likely to give you a far better return on investment than if you target everyone in Germany. So where possible, try to make sure you do city level targeting to get the best return on investment. Again, you know, when you go through set up your campaign, it's a good idea to set up budget. As Craig showed in the help guide, they already give you a breakdown of the guidance of what the spend should be, but also Semrush has a nice little calculator on the Traffic Jet homepage. So if you're not sure what your awareness, if your campaign's awareness or conversion based, they can actually give you a fair bit of feedback here. So yeah, so I would say if you're not sure how much you should be setting aside, play around with their traffic calculator, and then that can give you a better guidance on how much you should be spending. Again, when the campaign information, this is basically where you specify if there's anything you know about your campaign that you want the Semrush account manager to take into account when it's setting up your campaign. As sort of covered previously, option to use auto-generated ads or upload your own. I would say look at doing upload your own if you can. Again, if you've been running advertising in the past, it should be a very simple thing for you. They have all the requirements there. They have the maximum size, they have the amount of headlines, the descriptions, if you want to use images. But I do say when you're running ads, aim for at least 2 to 3 variations. Typically, if you run too many variations, you're probably not going to get the results to kind of make a decision. But yeah, definitely look at running 2 to 3 variations of any ads within your site, and make sure they are different enough that you can actually easily identify as a consumer. So, you know, maybe it's free shipping, maybe it's, you know, free gift for every second order. So yeah, you want to make sure you're running multiple variations to get the best return on your campaign as possible, as well as make sure each of the ads has a different enough that the users will actually substantially change their click behaviors. The other one around the setup of the Facebook, the analytics integration. So you need to connect with your Facebook account so they can run Facebook ads on your behalf through your account. So that's a requirement. If you want to run Facebook ads, you need to make sure the Facebook Connect is enabled. And analytics strongly recommended that you run this because machine learning will actually feed back into its system the results of the visitor based on your analytics performance. So if you want a very good, well-run campaign with a good return on investment, make sure both of these things are enabled. Other boring things, make sure you set up your billing details. Again, the campaign is typically reviewed within sort of 24 to 48 hours. If you have a lot more special instructions, it may take a bit longer. If you're in Pawns Bills Casino, you may find your ad is declined. But don't panic. If it takes more than 48 hours, it could be the fact that your campaign, as I said, takes a little bit more work to set up because of the amount of special requirements that you've actually requested. Also, it typically takes their machine learning platform around 2 weeks to start to build a good traffic profile of what keywords and websites work best for you. So don't panic. As I said, that's what Craig talked about early on. Make sure you've got enough budget in your account to make sure they can build a decent amount of data to make sure the campaign can continually improve.